Hi everyone, welcome back to Quirky Pineapples. If you're new here, I'm Zena, a plant-based recipe developer and food blogger, and I'm back with another What I Eat in a Day. But I wanted to chat with you guys before I get started on breakfast to say thank you and how much I absolutely appreciate every last one of you, because we hit a milestone this past week. Quirky Pineapples is officially a monetized YouTube channel, and I'm super excited about that. I worked really hard on my blog and my YouTube channel for the past year now, but I decided in January of this year to really come up with a strategy for it and really be more consistent and to post every week the best I could. And so, with the exception of a couple of weeks, I pretty much stuck to that, and the hard work has paid off. And I just really hope that even though, yes, it's really great to reach these milestones, my biggest thing is that I really hope that you guys have actually found my videos really helpful, that you've enjoyed spending time with me, watching me cook in my kitchen and do things like that. And even the little bits of my life that I've shared, I really hope that you've connected with me as much as I feel like I've connected with you. There's some of you who have been watching since last year, since 2004, when I started trying out YouTube a little bit. And then there's some of you that came along as soon as I started posting more food content. And there's even a group of you that I almost always can look forward to your comments every week. It's about 4 or 5 of you, and I just love being able to have those connections with you guys. So thank you. I appreciate it so very much. It took me under a year, which honestly I thought I was going to be racing down to the wire, because if you know anything about trying to monetize a YouTube channel on YouTube, the requirement is 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. And so the subscribers part felt like it was going to be the hardest thing, but it actually was the watch hours and having people really want to stay and watch you cook throughout an entire video and connect with you. So I really, really hope that you understand how much I deeply, deeply appreciate you guys helping me get to this milestone and to reach this different level of Quirky Pineapples. I think I mentioned before that I'm trying to get Quirky Pineapples as far as I can get it, because I really have benefited a great deal off of eating vegan and plant-based and taking better care of myself in that way. And I understand that it's not for everyone, and I've mentioned this before, that this channel isn't meant to convert anyone from whatever it is that they do. But if I can encourage you to throw in those extra vegetables, if I can encourage you to try an alternative, then I feel like I've done my work. I feel like I've served my purpose. So again, thank you so, so much. And then, yeah, let's get into breakfast time, because I am hungry. So it's breakfast time and I want something simple, but I've been craving chocolate a lot lately, like kind of an insane amount. So I'm gonna have a yogurt bowl, but I'm gonna use my 7 Sundays muesli. This one's the early riser mix. It has dark chocolate in it and coconut, all that good stuff. I'm gonna use this organic creamy cashew yogurt that I get from time to time from Trader Joe's, and I actually like it. It has a really good texture. I have some pumpkin seeds, and I have just some hazelnut and almond butter. I do have a recipe on Quirky Pineapples for homemade like hazelnut spread, like Nutella, but I didn't really feel like making that. I was like, just easy peasy, just grab a little packet, and then I'm gonna put some banana in. And so, like I said, I really like the consistency of this. I don't know why I didn't already have it open. I really like the consistency of it. Usually have to give it a stir. We'll give it a stir first. And I like that it comes in this big tub and it's not super expensive, because let's be real, a lot of non-dairy products are becoming incredibly expensive these days. And I'm not going to talk about it this time, but yeah, it's kind of becoming a whole thing. All right, and so I have my little 7 Sundays muesli, and I kind of did the math And when I'm done, I should have about 20 grams of protein in this bowl. I am going to use pretty much all the rest of this. Okay, maybe not all the rest of it. I'll save that to top something else. I thought I had about a serving, but it seems like I have about a serving and a half left of that. I really like to add pumpkin seeds because it adds a lot of like nutritional value, and I like the crunch. The crunch is really good. And then maybe I should do the banana first. My bananas have been a little neglected, as you can see. I don't know, am I the only one who really likes bananas when there's still a little bit of green on them? I feel like when bananas get to this point that they're way too sweet. But right now I'm having unsweetened yogurt, so that kind of works just fine. But just to like eat a banana really quick, I cannot stand. Like, I wouldn't just eat the banana like this. I have to put it in something in order for it to work. Usually as soon as my bananas get to this color, I'll break them up or cut them up into sections, and I'll freeze them and put them in smoothies. Usually I try to freeze them before they get to this color though, because I don't always really like my banana to be super overpowering. And of course, the more you let them ripen, the more they're gonna kind of overpower whatever you put them in. But I really wanted that to be neat. I try to make my food look pretty for you guys, but if it's just me, I don't really do that. But yeah, I was saying about the bananas. What was I just saying about the bananas? But yeah, I try to freeze them beforehand because I don't want the bananas to overpower everything. Sometimes I like a light banana flavor, but not anything too crazy. And then, ooh, hazelnut spread. I can't even begin to try to tell you why I've been craving chocolatey things lately, but I don't think I really need a reason for it. I think just sometimes you just want chocolatey things. So I'm just gonna like drizzle that on. Ooh, that worked out pretty good, sort of. Sort of, as you try to like drizzle it really pretty. But yeah, there's a pretty good amount of protein, of course, in any type of nut products. So that's why I like adding it. And then pumpkin seeds are just rich in lots of nutrients anyway. So it's kind of nice to have. Today's going to be one of my nutrient dense days, in case you're wondering. Sometimes we have a little fun with our food. And then some days I try to make sure that I'm getting everything that I'm supposed to get. And today's one of those days. All right, come on. I really do want the whole thing. This looks like it's gonna be really good too. Okay. Ooh, this looks good. Okay, so see, simple breakfast. Simple, healthy, nutrient dense, pretty good amount of protein breakfast. Nothing too crazy. So yeah, I'm going to enjoy my breakfast. I kind of want to taste it a little bit, honestly. I haven't made a bowl like this before. So yeah, I do want to taste it a little bit. Ooh. I thought that by not sweetening the yogurt that it might be a little like a little too tart, but it actually works really well, especially with the hazelnut butter. So once I mix it all together with the bananas and all that, it should actually be really, really good. All right, so gonna enjoy my breakfast. Something nice and simple, kind of sweet, which is good. And then I will see you guys back at lunchtime. All right, so it's lunchtime and I'm craving a sandwich, which I'm sure you are not surprised about, but this one's a special sandwich because I've been wanting spicy food a lot, just like I've been wanting the chocolate, but I've been wanting spicy food a lot. And I have like a tofu sandwich that I use gochujang sauce with, which is, ooh, so good. But I wanted to try something different. I've been using peri-peri sauce on a lot of different things lately, and I kind of want to make a peri-peri tofu sandwich, but I can't just make a regular sandwich. It needs to have like some extra things with it. So I'm gonna make a ranch slaw to go on top of it, which I know sounds really fancy for lunch, but if you're anything like me and you scroll through Pinterest and you see all these different sandwiches and things that people are making. And then you're like, oh, I want to make something like that. So I've been seeing like a lot of like hot sandwiches and people making like fried chicken sandwiches and things like that. And I did think about frying this, but I'm actually not going to fry it this time. Like my other tofu sandwich, I'm going to just kind of like sear the tofu and coat it in the sauce just to see how it goes. But yeah, a lot of times you'll find that what I'm eating throughout the day is a lot of recipe tested food. So this is kind of a recipe test and I'm really excited about it because I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be bomb actually, but you know, we'll see. That's the whole part about experimenting. So I have 2 like tofu cutlets. This is just a block of super firm tofu that I've cut into 4s. And I marinated it in my usual marinade of soy sauce and rice vinegar, just a little bit, just to give some flavor to the inside of the tofu. And usually when I use super firm tofu, I do freeze it and thaw it out. So this is thawed out. And so I do just want to sear it a little bit and kind of just get it cooked up really good. And then I'm going to try to add the sauce. I don't know. You guys are going to experiment with me this time because I haven't made this recipe before. So let me go ahead and get some oil in my pan. I don't want to use too much. And then let's get the tofu in there. There we go. Probably put a little too much oil, but that's okay. And so I'm just going to let those brown. And while I let those brown, I am going, yeah, I put way too much oil. My bad, but it's okay. All right, so while I let those brown, I'm going to make the ranch slaw. So I have just slaw mix. I mean, you could take cabbage and shave cabbage if you want to, but I'm not really interested in doing that. And I have my yogurt out again. Like I said, this is a plain yogurt, and I have some vegan mayonnaise. So I'm going to put equal parts vegan mayonnaise and yogurt. So about a half cup. I'm just going to eyeball that. Okay, that might be too much. Actually, no, that should be fine because I like my coleslaw to be pretty saucy. And then a little bit of mayonnaise. Okay. And whatever I don't, we don't eat today in this exact moment, we'll eat another time. Right, let's get all that mayonnaise off. And then I have some spices and stuff here. I have some dill, some parsley. I have some chives, some onion powder, garlic powder, and some lemon juice. And I have pepper and salt, which, I like to add that in later to see how much of it I actually want. So I'm going to go ahead and add in my dill, my parsley, which I'm looking at and I'm like, I might want a little bit more of that parsley. I really was trying to find dry chives, and I don't know why that was the most difficult thing in the world. So I ended up having to order some dried chives, which usually I try to avoid having to order things if I don't have to. But I couldn't find any dried chives, so I just bought fresh chives, and I'm waiting for my dried chives to arrive. So maybe next time I'll make it with the dried version. I'm going to wait to put my lemon juice in because I kind of want to see how everything tastes first, because I can always add more, but I cannot take away. So I really don't want to add too much lemon juice to this. All right. And then we're just going to whisk and get everything all combined. And honestly, I do plan to take, because I cut them in the 4s, my other patties are in the refrigerator for another time. And so I figured what I'll do is, if I make enough coleslaw, then I'll just make another batch of this tomorrow or something like that for dinner or for lunch. Make another batch of the tofu, and then I'll have some coleslaw left over on the side. Okay, ooh, that looks very much like ranch, and I think I'm going to keep it thick. I have seen where some people will add a little bit of plant milk so that it can loosen up a little bit, but I think the lemon juice might do that. And actually, let's give it a taste. Okay, so it definitely needs the lemon juice. So let's go ahead and add a little bit at a time. Like I said, I really don't want, this is about 2 tablespoons that I have in this little container. But like I said, I really don't want to overdo it with that. I don't know if you guys heard that, but Alexa started talking and now I've just activated her again somehow. That happens quite often where you're having a conversation. I don't know how that thing thought that I was saying the name, but I was not. So yeah, she's getting all up in business, I guess. All right, so I'm gonna add a little bit of salt, some pepper. As Husbandtron tries to unplug Alexa over there. Some salt and some pepper. Go. And then I also probably should check in on this tofu. So let's go ahead because it's been going for a little bit now. Ooh, nice. There we go. And like I said, I did add a little too much oil. So hopefully I don't regret that too much later. Why are you sticking? We already had the conversation about me and my cast iron skillets. Okay, sorry. All right, so I added some lemon juice, some salt, and some pepper. So let's go ahead and give that another mix and a taste test. I'm one of those people, sometimes it can take me 3 or 4 times of taste testing to really get something to taste the way that I want it to. But like I said, it's better than like adding too much of something and then knowing that you can't really like take that out. Okay. Okay, we can allow a little bit more lemon juice. And I've also seen people who don't want I'm laughing because Husbandtron is in the background shaking his head because he feels like I make things too limey or too lemony, which is why I'm only adding a little bit at a time. But yes, so I've seen some recipes where they might use mustard powder instead, like ground mustard, instead of lemon juice. So the next time I make this, I might try that. Ooh, okay. That's tasting more like ranch. Did you want to taste it, Husbandtron? No, you don't want to taste it? We can cut you off if you walk in front of the camera. He's back there like, no, absolutely not. Okay, I am going to put a tinge more lemon juice. Now, granted, the recipe that I'm using calls for about 2 tablespoons, and I still have a lot of lemon juice left, so. Oh my gosh, look at me making my own ranch dressing. If you are someone who watches these videos and you're not from the US, people from the US, our obsession with ranch dressing is a little bit criminal, but it's really good. I mean, don't knock it until you try it. Okay, yeah, that's on point. A little bit more pepper. Okay. A little bit more salt. Boop, boop, not too much. Like I said, we always add that in the end so that nothing's too salty. Okay. And I apologize if that scraping noise is getting picked up. Okay. That's ranch. That is good. Now I feel like I need to make vegan chicken nuggets so I can dip it in the ranch. Okay. So now I'm going to go in with my slaw mix, and I'm probably going to use about half of the bag for this. There's no way that we're going to use all of this right now. Now I feel like I should have taken some of that ranch and put it off to the side for something else, but it's okay. It's for this. And then I'm just going to coat my coleslaw in the ranch. Ooh, okay. Let's actually take a moment to get these off. And I think I might need another plate because I started using my plate for something else. And of course, I just use my tongs and everything. All right. So this is kind of sort of the chaos of cooking with me a little bit, is that, you know, you end up with tools not being readily available. That happens. I guess that's kind of like normal. Like you grab things kind of as you need them. All right, let's turn that heat off. I want to turn the heat off, but I kind of want to let it cook on the sauce just a tad. So I'm gonna let the heat come down, because what I really want to avoid is the sauce starting to do that pop and bubble thing whenever you put sauces on a hot pan. So I'm gonna let that cool down for like a second. And then I'm gonna keep it, you know, just so it's warm, but warm enough that it will kind of help the sauce stick to the tofu. And then we're gonna coat the tofu again, because if you haven't tried the peri-peri sauce from Trader Joe's, it is quite good. All right. I feel like I'm working against myself just a little bit here with these tongs. So I'm gonna switch over to, there we go. I'm gonna switch back over to my spatula. Oh gosh, that's very saucy. I don't know. I might add a little bit more. And like I said, I'm just gonna store this, and we'll probably have these sandwiches tomorrow, which will be kind of nice. And then I think I'm gonna try a fried version of it, sort of like I said, like that crispy gochujang sandwich, but like a crispy peri-peri sandwich. And I don't know if I'm like offending anybody by putting ranch dressing with peri-peri sauce, but I mean, to me, it's all about whether the food tastes good. So that's what we're gonna go with. Okay. All right. Okay, so I kind of want to taste this, like the slaw itself. Let's see, while I wait for that to cool. That's good. That's really good. Because if you're anything like me, coleslaw is nasty. I don't care what anyone says. Regular schmegular coleslaw is nasty. Fight me in my comment section if you want to. It's gross. I remember when I was a kid, we would go to like KFC, which if you're in the US, KFC is not what it used to be. I feel like it's better in other countries, but it's not like I eat at KFC anymore anyway. But KFC would have like these like family meals, and it would come with a coleslaw. And never, not even a single time do I remember any of us actually eating the coleslaw. It would just sit there. But it was like, you know, an economical deal to get it, you know, with the mashed potatoes and all of the stuff that comes with it. So you get it, right? Okay, so I'm gonna let that like cook just a little bit in the sauce. Even though, like I said, I put a little too much oil, so it might get a little weird in there, but you know, like I said, we're experimenting. But yes, so it would come with that coleslaw, and nobody ever ate it. And I've even seen like the memes where it's like what you do with coleslaw and you throw it in the trash. And I'm not promoting food waste around here. However, coleslaw with just regular mayonnaise is not good. I've made a sriracha coleslaw before. Bomb. Now I've got a ranch coleslaw. Bomb. Little bit of extra effort, right? Coleslaw doesn't have to be nasty. But when it's just mayonnaise, like, I don't know, you just asking for people not to want to eat that. So yeah, so if you're a person like me who cannot stand coleslaw, but you know it's really good to add to sandwiches, make a coleslaw like this. Like put it in your favorite dressing or something like that, because just throwing some mayonnaise on it, that just ain't gonna work. I don't even know what we thinking when we do stuff like that. But yeah, all right, so I'm going to cook these down a little bit in the sauce. And then here, let's switch this out. There we go. I'm gonna set this coleslaw off to the side, and then I'm just gonna coat the bottom of this bowl. It's probably a little too much peri-peri sauce. This is me using up the rest of my peri-peri sauce. Sometimes when I see this in Trader Joe's, I buy like 2 of them. And I probably should have did that because I'm almost out now, because they don't sell it year round, which sometimes I'm like, oh, if people like stuff, just sell it all the time. But they don't sell this year round. So I probably should go back and get another couple of bottles because, like I said, I've really been on a spicy kick lately. All right, let's flip these. Like I said, I kind of want that sauce to stick. And then, of course, I want it to be like saucy on its own. And in that, there we go. Okay, let's flip this over. There we go. Ooh. I'm always careful not to put my face over the pot when I'm making spicy things or using spicy sauces, because my gosh, oh my gosh, the fumes. Just trying to make sure it gets all coated. But yeah, okay. All right, so we got a pretty good coating going on there. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and turn that off. And then I'm gonna pull these back out. I don't think that's enough sauce, but we'll see, we'll try. All right, so I'm gonna pull these off, or actually I'm gonna let them finish up a little bit, and I'm going to get my buns all toasted. Okay, so I went ahead and dipped my tofu, got that all together. My buns are somewhat toasted. Now, I do want to say, y'all know I'm a big bread snob, and these were the only buns that I could find that were vegan and that were kind of fluffy, and I'm still kind of hurt about it. I couldn't find the bread that I usually like, but you know, it is what it is. Maybe I'll find it for the next batch that I make. All right, so ooh, that's nice and spicy. So let's go ahead and put the tofu on. Ooh, she's spicy. It's gonna be good. I think that the ranch is really gonna like really round it out. Okay, got some slaw in there, and this is a very like nice, like fully coated sloppy slaw. I do feel like I did maybe make a little too much of the. I feel like I should have just put the whole bag of coleslaw in there, which I may end up doing later. But here we go. But at least I'm getting some cabbage. Okay, I think that might be enough. All right, so let's go ahead and give this a taste test. Oh, look at this. It looks good. Only thing is I don't like that it's like square like this. Oh, that looks so good. Okay, let's see. That is really good. Sorry. It's really good. It's really simple. And I think that's what I like, is that it's simple. If I got some marinated tofu on hand and I got some type of sauce, and it's like, it's spicy, but it's not too spicy because like I said, the slaw kind of helps cool it off just a little bit. Like, because usually if I coat my tofu with peri-peri sauce, I'll add a little bit of maple syrup to kind of like, you know, just tone down the spice just a little bit. But in this case, I would probably even spoon a little bit more of the peri-peri sauce on it. But this is very good. Oh my gosh, look at me making really delicious lunch today. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna have to put it on the blog. Whenever it's this good, I gotta put it on the blog. So, okay. So I'm gonna make one for Husbandtron too, so we can sit down and enjoy lunchtime. And then, gosh, I'm excited about this. This is good. But I will see you guys back at dinner time. All right, so it's dinner time. We're winding down, and I'm gonna have a lime margarita. And I put it in air quotes because I've been trying out all of these different like non-alcoholic beverages because I already really didn't drink very often. And then as I've been just trying to make sure that I'm like, you know, taking the best care of myself. And that's not to say if you have like a drink from time to time that you're not taking the best care of yourself. But I just noticed certain things make me feel a certain way. So I've been trying out like lots of different non-alcoholic beverages. So I have this Recess Zero Proof Lime Margarita, and it has like adaptogens and all that stuff. So I figured I would have some now while I cook. my dinner and kind of give it a try. I have been, what was the last one that I tried? I tried one that I ordered from Thrive Market. I can't think of the name right now, but that was pretty good. It was like, it was a rosé, and it was a non-alcoholic rosé, and it was really good. Ooh, I like that. I will say the sugar rim around the glass would probably be really good with this. I like it. I mean, I think I've only ever had one actual alcoholic margarita. So, I mean, I don't have a lot to compare it with, but I like it. I feel like it just needs a little sweetness, but I think the idea of it is that this is supposed to be like a really healthy alternative, so it doesn't have a lot of sugar in it. But I'm not really thinking too much about that right now. So I'd probably maybe mix in a little bit of agave syrup or something like that to make it sweeter. It's actually pretty good. All right, so for dinner, I am making a butternut squash soup, but it's a Harissa butternut squash soup. It's kind of hard to say that all at one time. A Harissa butternut squash soup. And I got this recipe from Zena's Kitchen, and I just love watching her food videos. Everything just looks so vibrant and so delicious, and she uses all these fresh ingredients. And so I saw her making this butternut squash soup, and it wasn't even like a video dedicated to it, but I was like, oh, this looks really good. And so I'm gonna mostly use the base of her recipe, so all of the ingredients, but I'm gonna add nutritional yeast, which isn't a part of her original recipe, just because I like adding a little extra nutrition. And then I'm actually gonna add, and I forgot to pull them down, I'm gonna add some butter beans for a little bit more protein. Yeah, I'm gonna add some butter beans for a little bit more protein, and I'm probably gonna add some greens to it because I'm pretty sure that the soup is more so supposed to be eaten alongside with something else. So I want to bulk it up just a little bit. So I'm going to add some greens. Hopefully I don't forget to do that. They're in the freezer right now, and I'm going to leave them there until I'm ready for them. And so for the butternut squash soup, I have just some cut up butternut squash. I have some, let me turn this down because it's starting to smell like a hot comb in here. I have some cubed butternut squash. I have some diced yellow onion, which I made this last week, so I already had like half an onion ready to go. And I just freeze anything that I cut up that I can't use right away. I usually will freeze it. So I just had some frozen onion. And then I have, her recipe doesn't call for parsley, but I have some parsley for garnishing later on. I have some coriander, some garlic, some cumin. Of course, I have harissa paste, some veggie broth, and some coconut milk. And then I'm going to keep a little bit of the butternut squash off to the side because I don't always like my soups to be just smooth soup. And there's nothing wrong with that. But for me, to me, it's like eating baby food. So I need some chew. And of course the beans are going to allow that, but I am going to blend my soup a little bit with the beans in it. But I want to add a little bit of the butternut squash at the end, so that I still have a little bit of chew left into the soup. I hope it didn't offend anybody by saying that soup is like baby food, but I don't know. That's just me. That's just me. All right, so let me add some olive oil, a little bit of olive oil. And I kind of got influenced. I'm finally trying like the Graza, and I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty good olive oil. Woo! Yes, I did forget about the ice crystals on the onion before adding it to the hot oil in my pot. So judge your mama. Yes, I forgot. It's all right. All right, so I'm gonna cook these onions down. I'm gonna throw onions out of the pot. I'm gonna add a little bit of salt, not a lot, but just to help the onions sweat, but not a lot, because I'm already gonna add veggie broth to this, and that's gonna kind of bring up the salt content. Yeah, I can't believe I forgot that. So I'm gonna let those go for a little while, and actually I think I'm gonna add some agave to this margarita in the meantime. Where's my agave? Add a little bit of agave to my margarita. There we go. Definitely gonna need to mix that up. All right, a little bit of sweating going on there. There we go. Oh my gosh. It's like I start to cook for you guys and I completely forget all the things that I know I'm supposed to be doing. All right, gonna add in my garlic. No garlic left behind here. All my garlic. And that's about, the recipe calls for 2 cloves of garlic, but I put 3 because garlic is life. All right, so I'm just gonna let that soften. Then I'm gonna go ahead and add in my cumin and my coriander while I let that cook down. All right, so we're just gonna let that cook down for just a little bit. All right, so now that my onions and garlic have started to cook down, hopefully you guys can see me through the plume of smoke. I'm gonna add some harissa paste, and I'm just eyeballing it. It's about 2 tablespoons that I'm supposed to add. If it's a little spicier than it's supposed to be, then that's okay, right? I mean, I think so. I told y'all I've been on this whole spicy food kick. I'm thoroughly enjoying the spicy food. All right, so sometimes I just like letting all the aromas come out of everything. All right, so now I'm gonna add my butternut squash. All that in there. And give it a mix. Now I know that it is squash season, and I probably could have picked up a butternut squash. However, I don't always like to do a ton of chopping. I'm just gonna be real. Sometimes you just want to get dinner ready in 30 minutes or so, and sitting here chopping and dicing and scooping the entrails out of a squash is not on the agenda. So I did buy frozen only because I really wanted to buy the fresh ones. And the last time I made this, I did buy fresh butternut squash that was already cut up. Yes, I know it costs more when you buy it like that, but it's okay. But nothing that they had in the store was going to make it to today. So the expiration date on it was a little too soon. So I just went ahead with frozen. And frankly, I don't think there's anything wrong with buying frozen, because as far as I know, they chop it up and freeze it at the peak of its freshness. So it should have like all the flavors that it's supposed to have. So I don't know, it's fine with me. But yes, I would have done that. Also, okay, y'all got to tell me, have you guys seen the honey nut squash in the store? And maybe if I find a picture of it. But see, I feel like a picture wouldn't do it any duty, because I feel like if I put a picture up, it's just going to look like I'm putting a picture of butternut squash up. However, I went into Sprouts the other day and I was, getting my ingredients for today. And I saw these cutie patootie little squash that look like little mini butternut squash, but they're honey nut squash. And I don't know if I've just been living under a rock all this time. Like, I've heard of kombucha squash and acorn squash, all these different squashes, but I've never heard of honey nut squash. So are they starting to do squash like they do apples, where they're like breeding different types of squash now? I don't know, but please tell me if you've seen these in your local store, and what do you do with them? Like, do you make them like butternut squash? Like, what do you do? Because they're so cute. They're so incredibly cute. You're just like little baby butternut squash. Like, husband was laughing at me like, okay, enough with the honey nut squash. But it was really cute. He didn't see it, so he doesn't understand. But it's really adorable. And I'm just like, I want to figure out a way to make this. But yeah, I feel like, of course, like when you become plant-based, you find yourself trying lots of different foods that you would not have maybe tried before, because like meat and dairy tends to be like, it kind of makes itself the main event on your plate, right? And so our vegetables end up being like kind of playing second fiddle, when in actuality, our vegetables are supposed to be literally half of our plate that we make. And that's in any diet, right? If you are pescatarian, if you do the Mediterranean diet, if you are, you know, a carnivore and you eat both and everything, like you're supposed to have half a plate of vegetables. And it never really is like that. It's always kind of like the meat and then a little side of some type of vegetables and then like maybe a starch. So I do find it interesting that now that I eat this way, I feel like maybe I just didn't pay attention to these things and they were always there. But I'm really glad that I'm starting to discover them. Like really glad, because a lot of these things are really delicious. And I mean, I also like, I didn't grow up like, you know, super privileged or anything. So a lot of times it was just like whatever was in the frozen vegetable section or whatever was, you know, whatever vegetables were canned. And I mean, I don't think I've ever seen canned butternut squash before. So I feel like now, you know, since the wallet's a little bit bigger, as an adult, that I get to try these things and, you know, kind of add them on. I get to experiment with them, right? Because if they go bad, then it's like, okay, that's not so bad. But I mean, if you grew up on like a really tight budget, then it's like mom is not just going to pick up something to experiment with like that. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's a really good privilege, but it's also really interesting to like find all these new ways of cooking and find all these, you know, interesting new things to eat. And I kind of love that about being vegan, that you get to do that. So yeah. All right, enough about that. I am going to go ahead and add my coconut milk. I'm going to add my coconut milk and I'm going to add my veggie broth. Now that's just a cup. I need a cup and a half, but I really just want to make sure that I have a cup and a half of liquid. I did only a cup worth of the broth. I think I used the better than bouillon broth. But I tend, like I said, I try not to add too much because the sodium can be a little up there. So I like to add my salt as I go, but I did the same thing last week and I don't think it took away from the flavor at all. All right, so I'm gonna have to let this cook down and simmer for a little while, and then I have to blend it and all that good stuff. But I'm gonna go ahead and bring this up to a simmer, let it cook, everything soften, all those flavors combined and all that. And then I guess I'll be back when it's time to blend the soup. Okay, so I've let my soup simmer for about 15 minutes or so, and now I'm just adding it to my blender. I can't say that I recommend using this type of blender for blending your soup, or any really like closed blender that you can't vent because of the heat. So I might even still let this cool down a little bit more before I actually blend it. I would recommend using like one of those glass pitcher blenders that you can put the lid on just slightly to get it to blend, or using an immersion blender. But I don't own an immersion blender, and this is the only regular blender that I own. But yeah, so I usually get a little nervous, and I would, like I said, I don't recommend this unless you're going to be super careful, because the heat will get trapped inside and build up pressure inside of the blender. So like I said, I'm going to let it cool a little bit before I actually blend it up. And I did it this way the last time and it worked out fine, but I did notice when I went to open up the lid, it made that noise that sodas make when you open them up. And that was just the pressure releasing inside of the blender cup. Also, this one's plastic. It says BPA free, but I'm just not a fan of putting hot liquids inside of plastic, but it's gonna work for now and it's not gonna be in there very long. But yeah, so I'm gonna blend this up, and then we'll come back when it's all like nice and smooth and I add my other things to it. So I've got my soup all blended. I did bring what was left in the pot back up to a simmer because I'm gonna add in my beans and my greens to kind of cook all of that off. So we'll pour that back into the pot. I also really want this to thicken just a little bit more. So we're gonna do that. There we go. And what I did, just to be really careful with blending it, is I blended it a little bit and then I unscrewed the lid to release some of the pressure, blended it a little bit more to release the pressure and so forth, just so that it didn't build up too much pressure inside of the blender. Ooh, looks good. Okay, so this is gonna need to thicken a little bit, but in the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and add my nutritional yeast, because I usually like to add it last. I go really heavy-handed on the nutritional yeast, so don't judge me. And then I want to go ahead and add in the rest of my butternut squash chunks as well, because like I said, I like a little bit of chunks. I did leave some of the already cooked chunks in there, just because I like a little chew, like I said. All right, so I've stirred in my nutritional yeast, and don't be surprised if you see me adding more. And then we'll add in the rest of that squash, if it'll come out of the bag. All right, I'm gonna add in the rest of my squash. There we go. I feel like this could take 30 minutes to make, but I've kind of taken the long way around because I'm adding extra things. I mean, you probably could have ended it right here. And then I'm gonna add my beans, just so my beans can cook. I mean, they're already cooked, but to get them nice and heated, and so they can soak up some of that nice flavor. And then my greens are already kind of wilted because I'm using frozen greens, so I think I'm gonna wait. But in the meantime, I'm gonna add a little bit more salt because, like I said, we're light on the salt from the beginning because we want to add it afterward to see, you know, how much we actually need, right? I can always add a little more. I cannot take away. Nobody wants overly salty soup. Just like earlier, we don't want overly lemony ranch and things like that. So let's give it a taste. It's good, it's getting there. Ooh, it's got that nice kick from the harissa. I'm gonna add a little bit more nooch. Like I said, judge your mama if you're gonna talk about my obsession with nutritional yeast. I also like nutritional yeast, like it's called nutritional yeast for a reason. Like we're adding lots of good stuff to this soup by adding nutritional yeast, including some extra protein. And then I feel like I really dropped the ball here. I forgot to get myself like a sourdough or a baguette or something, or some focaccia, some type of nice bread, crusty bread to butter up and go with this. So I'm really like kind of kicking myself for that because I didn't do that. Okay, it does need a little bit more salt. Let's see. Like I said, we're trying to get there. It's like we've got to wait for it to simmer and thicken anyway. So this is probably a good time to, you know, do those taste tests and get the flavor right. Okay, that's good. There it is. Okay, so I'm gonna let this simmer and thicken a little bit more, and then I'm gonna add my spinach, like kind of the last of the last. Not spinach, sorry, my kale last of the last, because it doesn't need to cook very long because, like I said, it wilted from being frozen. And then we'll plate it up and have a nice, yummy, delicious bowl of like spicy butternut squash soup. It's gonna be so good. All right. All right, so soup is all done. So I'm just gonna go ahead and plate it up. I'm very excited. And I have to admit, after putting the kale in, it kind of looks like broccoli cheddar soup, which obviously you know that it's not. But yeah, of course, Zena's soup is a lot smoother and, you know, because it is the whole soup blended. But oh, this looks really good. It just looks like, just hearty. All right, so I know we've had a lot of yogurt today, but I just thought it would be nice to drizzle on a little bit of yogurt to kind of cut through. Now, I am no pro at the yogurt drizzle thing, so I'm just gonna try to get it on there. Okay, that wasn't too bad, I don't think. And then I have this like finishing olive oil. I think I'm gonna put like just a little bit. Ooh, look at me. Okay, and then just a little bit of parsley on the top. Okay, or a lot of bit of parsley on the top. I think I grabbed a little more than what I thought that I would. This looks good. Okay, I still have to like take a picture of it, so I'm gonna like try to like dig out of the corner a little bit. Oh, that's good. I mean, I knew it was gonna be good because I made it last week. But what I didn't do last week was add this type of kale. I added I think the kind of that curly kale, which I prefer. And so it didn't like green out as much of the soup. But this time I had some frozen kale. I didn't have fresh kale, so I just went with that. But ooh, this looks good. Like I said, I don't want to mess up all the pretty stuff in the inside, but it is a really good soup. So I will make sure that I link Zena's soup in the description box so that you can try it out. It really is an absolutely delicious recipe. And I like how I was able to just kind of customize it and add to it and kind of zhuzh it up a little bit. Not that it didn't taste perfectly delicious on its own, but just, you know, adding some extra elements to it. But yeah, so I'm going to enjoy my dinner. I appreciate you guys joining me for another What I Eat in a Day. Also, leave in the comments what you would like to see a little bit more of. I'm a little curious about that. I'm really actually very curious about that. Since we used a little bit of olive oil today, go ahead and put an olive in the comment section along with your answer as to what type of foods or what types of things you would like to see coming from Quirky Pineapples in the future. Now that I'm out of the YouTube monetization woods where, you know, you have to kind of do what's absolutely working so that you can reach that goal. Now I feel like I can be a little bit more creative, have a little extra fun. Not that I haven't been having fun doing these things, but I just know that we can do so much more. But I also want to make sure that I'm doing what you guys want to see as well. So yeah, so drop that olive in the comments. I'm pretty sure that there's an olive emoji. I'm pretty sure. Drop an olive in the comments, or a margarita glass or something like that, just in case there's no olive since we had our margarita together. And let me know what more would you like to see from Quirky Pineapples, whether it's a recipe or a certain type of video or anything like that. I'm very open to your suggestions. If you would like to check out any more recipes from me, go ahead and check out quirkypineapples.com. I have more delicious recipes there. And if you haven't already done so, make sure you sign up for my plant-based grocery guide. It's a super, super helpful tool. It's completely free. You just type in that email address and it goes directly to your inbox. But yeah, and then of course, like and subscribe. If you've been hanging out with me and you're not subscribed, come on and be a part of this party. Don't just watch from the stands. But yeah, alrighty guys. Thanks again for joining me, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.